So, no problem. So today I want to talk to you about a problem it's actually an old magic problem called a study in stud. It was published in issue number 3 of the Cardiste in 1957 by Rusduck. And the problem might sound familiar. And he asked if anybody knew a system where you could use 4 face-up cards and rearrange them in such a way to determine the identity of a 5th unknown card. Now, the important difference here from the Fitch Cheney 5-card trick that most of you know is, in his particular instance, the spectator is the one that gets to choose the card. So it actually makes the math a little bit easier and a little bit less kind of impressive. But basically, if you have 4 cards, you want to rearrange them, right? 4 factorial, there's only 24 ways to do that. But in a 52-card deck, you have 48 other cards to encode. So the question is, how do you actually do that? And the answer is always the case for magicians, is we cheat, right? But just sort of. So let me explain the way that we did this. So we had an encoding system, and for G4G13, I wanted to do it in a very specific way. 4 suits, 13 values, right? That's what you have in a deck of playing cards. So we're going to encode the suits first, and then the values in kind of 2 steps. So for the suit, we use a really ingenious idea of Stuart James, which is, if you look here, right, we have 4 cards, and we just look at the highest value card. So if you have 2 kings, you have to kind of make a decision, but in this case, I'll make it simple. In our case, the king is the highest card here. So you see there's positions 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it is in position 3, and you can see in position 3, we have a club. So I know that the card that I'm trying to encode in this case would be a club. Okay, so let's get to the values. Now for the values, right, we just ignore that high card. And we look at the 3 remaining cards, and now there's 6 possible combinations between low, medium, and high. So in this case, I have low, high, medium, which corresponds to a 2. So in this case, we would be encoding the 2 of clubs. Right, so the real question is, what do we do if it's not an ace to 6? Right, and this is where the little bit of cheating comes in, and we allow the fact that some of the cards be face down. So in that case, we completely switch to a binary system. If at least one of the cards is face down, now we just go to binary. So in this case, face down is a 0, face up is a 1, so this is going to represent a 6, right? In this case, we always add 7. This gives us a 13, so this is going to represent a king, okay? And just so that we kind of understand this, right, I want you guys to kind of try this out, right? So the high card here is the jack. So put my little symbols there so you can see that this means that the card we're encoding is going to be a heart, okay? And now we just look at the binary representation of what's left. It's a 0, 1, 1, which is a 3, add 7. So here we're encoding the 10 of hearts, okay? Pretty straightforward, right? So what's important here is that not all cheating is equal. So I'll kind of rewrite what Rusduck had as what he wanted in his solution. And what he was looking for was a solution, a system whereby the whole card need not be used, but the 4 remaining face-up cards be arranged in such a manner as to designate exactly the identity of the whole card. So there are a lot of solutions. You can use extra outside information. In fact, Dr. Matrix has one that's absolutely brilliant, but it doesn't satisfy these conditions, but it's still an amazing solution to this. Using the 5th card, Rusduck actually gave a solution to this in the following issue, but it used the 5th card. That's totally cheating, right? And then later on, because a lot of readers complained, he gave another solution that he says, well, this one satisfies the conditions. And what he did is he dealt the 4 face-up cards once, and then he dealt them face-up again, right? Now that doesn't feel right. That's a terrible trick. So what makes a good solution? And it's kind of similar to puzzles, right? You want something that satisfies the literal conditions of what's going on, right? But you also want something that satisfies it in spirit, right? You don't want something that you're like, that was a kind of a cheap move. So in magic, there's one more important thing, at least for me, maybe not all armchair magicians, but you want a solution that's practical, right? I'm hoping this is one that's kind of simple and pretty much anybody can learn, so you can kind of do this over the phone with a partner. And then does the solution feel good? I feel pretty good about it, so that's good. And I always want to ask this whenever we have these kind of magic problems, is would the creator of the problem approve? I feel very comfortable in saying yes because he's dead. But I think this is something he would have liked. And we can talk more about it if anybody's interested. Thank you.